Sure.
Well, not the most perfect, but hey, here we are, Buff Nation. What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having an absolute wonderful day. Joined by my friend. It's been a long time. Rawhide Media for you on the show. What's going on, Rawhide? How's your day, man?
Oh man, my day. Man, this has been a good day, I will say, and it's even better. The simple fact I can get with my buddy Dave. You know, what I'm saying now that we established that he's not mad at me. So yeah, it's this is a lovely day.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, man, it's good to talk again. I think that we've all benefited from just chilling out over the last month or so. At least that's been important for me as we get ready for the season. But man, we got a lot to talk about. I guess. Well, let's get into this before I get to the no phones. Definitely want to talk to you about your opinion of the team right now. But Adalius Thomas coming in. It was announced kind of funny through a part in the well off video. Coming here as a defensive analyst, I imagine he's going to be working with the linebackers as like an assistant linebackers coach. I guess similar to Warren Sapp, not a GA, whatever. What is your initial like instant reaction, Rawhide, on hearing him added to this staff?
I think it's good. Good to. I don't want to call it a great, but I think it's a good pickup. I mean, football minds, bro. It's always good to have football minds all around you. That's
Yeah.
another guy who played the linebacker position, right? Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots. I mean, those the sheer fact of just being in those two organizations themselves, he's smart and he's intelligent. He knows how to play the defense because that's what they're predicated on. Super
Oh,
Bowl champion, he knows how to win. So, yeah, I think man, that's a great mind to have. You know what I'm saying, on your staff.
oh, yeah, yeah, and I mean now it all makes sense. Is this a little rude? But I just got to say it. I mean, now we know why guys like Nakai Hill-Green, Jalen Wester, all these guys, Johnny Chaney Jr. They were all coming here, and it was to play for Adalius Thomas. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't think these guys come here if they didn't realize what was going on, the additions to the staff that we were having, and I think it's a wonderful thing, man. I know that, hey, this is a cutthroat business, just like Lamar is saying. I didn't think Coach Prime had it in him to light a fire under the seat. Coach Hart, man, it's time to put up or shut up, and we'll just have to see. But you got to imagine this is going to help recruiting too. Warren Sapp, Adalius Thomas, Coach Prime, all these guys with Super Bowl rings. It's fantastic, and it's again one of the things I feel like that differentiates this program compared to a lot of other schools, particularly in the Big 12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I mean, Coach Prime said it. He said that he wants a NBA type of organization, and that's how he's running it. And he's putting, I'm not, did I say NBA? I meant NFL type of
mm-hmm.
organization, and that's what he's doing. He's putting NFL guys with extensive experience, either playing the game, right, or coaching the game. He's putting them and surrounded by these young men that he got on his team.
Yeah. And I want to get to the main topic. You might be wondering, Dave, why you got the Travis Hunter jersey on. This goes back to many conversations that we've had many months ago, Rawhide, on the phone. And maybe we can talk a little bit about just maybe why we just haven't been, around as much, kind of why we're just taking this time to chill right now. But man, I got to say, nothing got me more fired up than watching that well-off video this morning as I'm starting work and I see Coach Prime rolling out this new rule in the cafeteria saying, nah, when you're eating, put the phones in the mini trash bins. No phones allowed when we're eating. We're going to eat as a team. We're going to talk to each other. We're not going to be on the screens. Thank God, man. I have, I don't want to be that guy, but everybody needs to take a break every now and then from just the abysmal pit that is the Twitterverse. And I think it will serve this team well, but it's like taking a page out of the Travis Hunter playbook, which is shut the hell up and grind and let's prove people wrong this year. This isn't based on any inside information. I guess I'm my own fake insider here, but if I'm trying to make this we're trying to understand how we get this new rule, it's from Travis Hunter coming in there and telling his team guys, shut the hell up, follow me, and getting off the phones a little bit less, talking to each other, building camaraderie. And we both know, Rawhide, like, obviously, you still got to be on Twitter if you want to be plugged in, okay? Got to be on Twitter, got to promote when the videos come out and all that. But just limiting the amount of time that you're on Twitter, it's not only good for the team, I think, but it is just good for you. It's good for me. It's good for my attitude, how I'm feeling about the day. When you're constantly interacting with people that are pissed off and sensitive about every single thing, not only does that upset you, general you, but then it makes you a worse person. And I feel like the worst versions of me, people get to see that on Twitter. And I just think that this is something that can't be understated. I think it's a great thing. Obviously, you can't just tell a team to never be on their phones. It's just not realistic in today's age. But yeah, keeping your phone away from the dinner table when you're eating with the family, I think that's totally reasonable, and I think that's a great thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Totally agree. You know how I feel about Twitter. It's where evil resides. But yeah, I mean, anything you can do to help build, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Get to know the people that you're around, develop these intimate relationships with your peers. I know it's kind of old school type of philosophy. Put your phones down at the dinner table, but I understand where he's coming from with that. I mean, I would love him to take it a step farther and just stay off of Twitter. I mean, if they, if they could just take it one more step further, stay off of Twitter, bro, it'd be even better. You know what I mean? Nothing good. I mean, honestly, at their level, nothing good come out of it anyway. Not trying to tear off old scabs, but I agree with Coach Brian. I'm glad that he did that. Just to be honest with you, I'm glad that he did that. It's a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, you got these little trash bins. That's just where you put the phone in when you're eating, and I think it's wonderful. Buff News Weekly saying that's always been team rule. So he was telling players to put their phones away and talk to each other. Well, now we got trash bins for it. We're taking it a step further, and yeah, man, I think that it will benefit the team in the long run just to have this emphasized. This was the first time that I had seen this talked about, and it got me pumped up, man. And I guess we can talk about too. I want to ask you, not doing too many Colorado live streams anymore. Like right now, I mean, I feel like it's so funny. Again, one of the reasons I'm on Twitter, or I've been off Twitter a little bit, is that people are saying, Dave, you're either a fanboy or you're either a hater. There's no way in between. Your man Rawhide corrupting you. I still hear it. Tell the people, man, why you been gone?
Well,
I'm
man,
curious.
I took a page out of Coach Brian's book there. I was like, man, I needed to take a step back. Because honestly, I didn't get into it to just talk about Colorado. But let's just be honest, you give the viewers what they want. No different than ESPN. But the deal, man, I can tell you what happened, man. I was listening to an old show,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, damn, I sound like a hater. I said, I actually sound like a hater. So, so what I did was I was just like, I didn't get into it, or I didn't, I support Coach Brown more so than almost anybody. But I didn't. I initially thought practicality would reign supreme. I was like, people will understand practicality, thus, we can all grow together. I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. So what I end up doing is kept pushing back against the crazy fandom, right?
Yeah.
Because when you try to be practical on it and want to grow this thing the right way, and we talk about the football program, what happens is that you push back against this some nonsense. But when you continue to push back against nonsense, what end up happening is you sound like a hater. So I just said, let me leave it alone. I'll talk about them every once in a while, but I gotta back up. I said, They pushed me in the corner, Dave. They pushed me in the corner, bro. I couldn't
feel
handle
like I'm gonna have to clip this segment right here. I'm a
Right.
hater. Everybody's right, and I'm
I
learning.
know, man. I know. I just, the thought process, saying being happy with winning 4 games, building, winning 6 to 7 games. Oh my God, bro. They couldn't stand me for having that take. Or, I don't diss players, and I don't really diss players, so I don't really call players trash for the most part. I think but what I also don't do is make them way better than what other people try to make them to be. So I try
Mhm.
to stay in the realm of, okay, this is what you actually are. People tend not to like that, so I just said, let me just back up on it all. I'll just back up for a second. We'll talk about every blue moon.
Yeah, and I've talked about this on some of the live streams, just solo live streams that I've done. I mean, man, I can't remember the last time. Well, I guess I've had Russ on recently, but outside of that, I haven't done many streams. And I think I just needed to just chill a little bit myself because I feel like, and there's a part of me, of course, being a Buffs fan that's emotionally attached to what's going on. But I think like so often, whether you're on one side or the other, people are so emotionally tied to whatever stance that they
Mhm.
have where it just becomes exhausting. And I just wanted to focus on football. And when I look at this team, Rawhide, when I look at this team from week 1 compared to right now, man, it's hard for me to see a position group where we got worse. I feel like we got a lot better talent at this point going into the summer workouts. Where are some of your favorite position groups where you feel like we've improved the most this offseason?
I think I think the defensive line is probably going to see some of your biggest jumps there. Just simple fact that they got some beef out there now. What the beef is able to do, that's a whole other story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the defensive line itself I would assume, has gotten better, right? I mean, we won't know until they actually hit the field, but that'll be my first. That'll be my first pick. The advent of these young men that's 300 over three, legitimately over 300 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
That's going to help. I think it's going to help quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. I think so too. And I think like when I did a series a little bit ago or a video that Matt H like asked me to do is just kind of compare the PFF ratings of the guys that we brought into the team average in terms of performance against run defense, pass rush, all that. And really, I feel like overall, like we brought in better sized players that are more adequate for the positions that they're playing. And then better performers. And if we're able to get that, I didn't even include guys like Anquin Barnes and Quincy Wiggins as part of that video, just because we don't have much snaps to go off of for what kind of player we might be able to get this year. But if Quincy Wiggins or Anquin Barnes, some of these guys are able to step up and really provide quality rotational snaps for us, I think that's just icing on the cake. I think that my hope is that this defensive line is in the position to where it can deal with an injury or two, and for just not all hell to break loose. I think,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't know if this has been said, and they brought some in from last season from Power Four universities. They did,
mhm,
and looks like this year though so they went a little deeper with the amount of people they brought in from Power Four universities, and
yeah,
I think a byproduct of doing that I don't know if people touch on, these guys that's been in the system this long. They know how to work to be successful at the P4 level.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So the
mhm,
the the normal going zones, the normal day to days, they understand the type of effort that it takes, or they should understand the type of effort that it takes, right, to be successful on this level. So I think if you're going to lean on these individuals, right, if these are the ones you're going to lean on, at least they got that type of knowledge, right, and experience to know how it works, right? Like you take a Bailey, for instance, right? Now, granted, Bailey did play some Power Four teams, but the system wasn't a Power Four system, right?
mhm,
So
correct.
just the peer-to-peer interactions that these guys have at these other larger universities, man, I think there's something that I think that something can be gleaned for that or be gotten from that. So just that in itself should help them out.
Yeah, man. And let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. Before we get to Lamar has a good comment here about the secondary, but let's get to the offensive line. We've brought in guys who haven't played much, but young, big bodies. Zach Owens, freaking 360. We got Peyton Kirkland, another like 350, 360 guy coming here from Texas. We brought in Ethan Boyd, who was a rotational right tackle from Michigan State. I think anybody that's telling you that this is an elite offensive line might be, setting your expectations up to disappoint. But I do think we have some pretty good athletes. And I think like looking at the two deep, and I brought this up in a video recently too. This totally went over my head, Rawhide. When looking at the two deep, the Rick Ross package last year told you everything you need to know about our backup offensive linemen. The fact that when we're playing jumbo on offense, we're bringing in two defensive linemen in Shane Cokes and Bishop Thomas. Told you everything that you needed to know about what they thought about our backups and our depth. What's your impression right now on the offensive line compared to this time last year?
Okay, let me ask you a question, though. I need you to help me out here. Who do you have? Who do you think? Granted, we don't know, but who would you project to be the starters next season?
Right now, I'm going with probably the starting lineup that I saw at the spring game. So We'll go with Jordan Seaton, Tyler Brown, Hank Zelinskis, Justin Mayers, and then Khalil Benson at right tackle. Now, what's interesting is that Tyler Johnson was probably the highest regarded transfer that we brought in. But I think that he's kind of been out on and off with some injury stuff. So I don't really know where he slots in.
Okay. From a sheer size perspective, they're better. Like you ain't got Bailey out there running around at 280 pounds, bro. 275, 280 pounds, right? So just from a sheer size perspective, they have gotten better. Now, can they play? Can the cohesion be there? I don't know. I want to see it, right? I will say I am a little worried by the offensive, just a little bit worried by the offensive line. Okay, my little bit worried is not meaning they're bad. Okay,
right.
What I'm saying is I would love to see them and see how they work together, right?
Yes.
And that's why I warned people about early in the season that if you drop a game, if you drop one of the first three games, it doesn't mean it's the end. What happens is that they can grow and become a better unit overall. I mean, I just heard, I think I mentioned this to you earlier. I just heard, Ryan Clark on NFL Live talking about the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, right, that they may have some hiccups on the defensive side because they got a new defensive coach. Then he also said that the second year in Todd Monken's system, they should be able to perform better. And these are NFL players, right? So the time and them gelling together is my only concern, right? I think you gave me some grades on some of these offensive linemen, I think, on your starting five. That's why I asked you on your starting five. But I don't think they can be worse. And I don't believe they're going to be worse. I told you at the end of the season last season, at the very end of the last game, I said, Colorado Buffalo's offense is not going to look like it looked the previous season. It's just not going to happen.
No.
They're going to look a lot better. They're going to play. I truly believe they're going to play complementary football, which in turn is going to help the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm going to have to clip that one too. They're going to play complementary football. And I think so too, man. I think so too. For the people that haven't heard this, I've alluded to it before, but I want you to talk about why aren't we going to do the quote unquote daddy ball, throw it 90% of the time this year, have Shador break a bunch of records. Why isn't that stuff nearly as important as playing complementary football? And why you don't think we're going to fall in that same trap this year?
Because you have to. Okay. You winning games is what helps draft picks. It ain't the stats. Shador Sanders has already shown that
Mhm.
he got one of the best arms in college football. I mean, I would argue he's probably the best quarterback in college football. I can make that argument. Now, but losing, losing, that doesn't help draft stock. So he doesn't need to prove that. What they got to do is just win ball games. Look at JJ McCarthy is the perfect example. No one thought JJ McCarthy was the type of guy who just slanging it all over there, got a lot of you know what I'm saying, just killing it, passing and all that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wasn't that guy. But the man, what was he, top 10?
I think he's the 10th overall.
So because he won. Because he won. And that's how important it is to win games to help draft stock. And Coach Prime knows that. He's not an idiot. I think he knows that.
Yeah.
Throwing it for 4,000 and winning 5 or 6 games is not as important as throwing it for 3,200 and winning 9.
Bo Nix is not a first round pick if he's not at Oregon. Telling you that.
100% true. Hey, let me tell you, the Auburn fans, even what Bo Nix did at Oregon, you couldn't sell Bo Nix back to the Auburn fan base. They're like, we good.
No.
We're good.
No. Still.
We're good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think particularly when you look at this offensive line, when it comes to running the ball, I feel so much better about their ability to run block. Maybe I still got some question marks on how we might, protect Shador in some of these sets and situations. But if I had to choose, I would much rather have the offensive line, their strength be run blocking, because having a good run game is what's going to serve Shador in the offense so much better than being terrible at blocking the run and serviceable at pass protection. It's hard to find a perfect right tackle in the transfer portal right now. So you might as well go out and try and get some guys that are at least very productive in the run blocking. That's just kind of how I see it, having some months to reflect on how we've built the O-line right now.
Yeah. I just hope, I hope that they give Seaton time, right? I hope that they don't, trash him if he have a bad game, because freshmen have bad games, and I just hope that people are patient with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, man. Listen, man. I think the arrow's pointing up for the program in the next season. Now, it depends on what a person considers up, obviously, but I think in all practicality, bro, they're gonna put a better product on the field.
Dude, I think at the very minimum, man, we're going to that Snoop Dogg Bowl. We're going to that Pop-Tarts Bowl. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to see again in Well Off that Rick George is talking about this. The standard is to get to that Big 12 championship and to win it. And that needs to be the expectation. What I think right now, I think it's right that we're not the favorites to win the conference. But I think, man, if we stay healthy, if we're just more disciplined, I totally see scenarios in which we can be surprising, I think, a lot of people this year and putting ourselves in contention for the title. That would be an A++++. And if we don't get there, well, put us in the Snoop Dogg Bowl. That's kind of how
but Dave, you'll be Dave. As a fan, it hits you different, right? You care what happens to your university. You went to school there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, you bleed the black and gold. When was the last time y'all won a bowl? When was
2003, man, with Joel Klatt.
So 21 years ago. So you look at 21 going on 22 years ago. Yeah. Last time you won a bowl. How happy would you be if y'all was able to get? Let's say for instance you won 8 games with a bowl win. How ecstatically happy would you be?
Dude, A+++. Yeah, you're right, and that's why my hope is that this team understands that. The quarterback understands it. We're not going to have any, because this means so much. I pray to God that we don't have anybody sit out of these bowl games. I'm going to be pissed off if we have people, knowing the drought that we've been through, not having a bowl win, if we see people sit out. But yeah, like let's get Coach Prime his first bowl victory, and so we can put to bed that sort of narrative. And my hope is that those guys. I don't want to get too far ahead, but my hope is that all of our draft picks, whether we got 3, 4, 5 guys that really have the opportunity to get drafted next year, that all those guys play in the bowl game. I'd like to see it, but that's just me. What do you think about the secondary, man? I can't find the comment, but Lamar says he's like, I think we might have regressed at the cornerback and safety positions. Is it weird that I just kind of see it like we just kind of stood pat? Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
kind
don't
of
think. Well, why, I don't. Why did he? Why did you think he drew the conclusion that they regressed at the
I
cornerback?
don't know. I guess we're just bringing in different players. Cormani McLean, we lose potential. I would argue that,
Yeah.
he's a 5-star potential guy.
Hmm.
We don't have a guy with that type of ceiling, maybe, but that if that's not actualized through hard work, that doesn't mean anything. We lost Omarion Cooper. I think Preston Hodge is going to fill in fine. We'll see how DJ McKinney is, but I don't know. I'm not expecting any of these guys to be shut down, but I'm kind of expecting similar secondary play. Even though we lost Jaden Miller-Jones, we brought in that guy Savion Riley from Vanderbilt, who I think is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think I would say that the secondary has gotten better. Actually, I don't. How could I don't even know how you draw the conclusion that you're worse. You still got Travis Hunter, right? You still got him. You still got Cam Simmons-Craig. I don't know the details on Shiloh. His with his health. I'm not familiar with that. But if he can play, you still got him. Let's not forget, you still got Carter Stoutmeyer. You still got him.
Yes.
If he needed to play some DB, he can play DB. I don't. I mean, cornerback. If you need him to play
Yeah.
cornerback, he can play some cornerback. What? And he's in year 2. How did you get worse? I don't know. You should be better.
Yeah. I think we got probably our 3 best performing secondary players to return, which was, Travis, Shiloh, and Cameron Silman-Craig. And yeah, I think a lot of people have pretty high expectations for Preston Hodge. And I'd feel like we're going to get fine secondary play. I feel like we got better at linebacker. Again, at some of these positions, like the defensive interior, I don't feel like it was hard to be like substantially improved. I think in the interior, I mean, you had nowhere to go but up.
Yeah,
I
I
think we're
don't
going to
know.
see again, like
I don't. Yeah,
we're starting at the worst ranked position
yeah.
groups
I don't.
performance in some of college football. I think that we can totally take a substantial leap in level of play from some of these
Yeah,
positions.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't understand. I don't understand that. How you think they got worse? Now, if we talking about did you go from being the worst defense was what I'm saying overall, and you're going to be a top 10? Now, granted, that's delusional, right? See, that's crazy. But I mean, but if you talking about the worst to if you can make what would you? I'd say a 60-point jump. If you 60 points higher, uh, you that's that's pretty good.
You would argue that, hey, if you're making that sort of jump, you're doubling your win total. That's my hope. At least, like
How many
if
point jump you say?
if you're making that substantial jump from
Oh
being
yeah,
like
yeah,
130th to like 60th, 70th, like with
yeah.
what we saw last year from Shador, like I don't see why we don't double our win total. That's
I
my
don't,
prediction right now.
but I don't think people understand right the teams. I'd have to pull it up to look at it, but some of these teams that are good, they're around about some of them are around about the what I'm saying 75th mark, right? 80th mark. But they're good teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't talking about title contention. We ain't talking about NCAA championship. That's not where I'm grading them on. I'm grading them on the scale of where they should be. I don't, bro. It's some 8 and 9 win teams that's their defense graded out set in the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would think that this works. I don't know how a person could draw that conclusion.
And that's what I don't get. Like, I see people that say that this is a 4-win max year team. I've seen people comment on that on my channel or on Twitter, or like they're going to see a regression this year. Remove your emotions from it. When you just look on paper, the players that they've brought in, again, looking at it based on data and science, they are a better team. I think that they're a better constructed team. I don't see how you see this team taking a backslide this year. And you know who is ranked lower than Colorado in a lot of these metrics. When I was going through that little study I did a couple weeks ago, Baylor. Some people think that we're going to get beat by Baylor here at home, and I just don't see it, man. I think that, again, year 2 rebuild, a lot of people, I think it's funny, a lot of people are giving Matt Rule the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's because he's done it at the Power 4 level before with Baylor, but he did it prior at Temple, where you see that big jump happen year 2. Coach Prime had that nice jump year 2 at Jackson State. I don't see why we shouldn't expect the same thing. We see this with most coaches that like have a philosophy, and I don't know, man. I just feel like we brought in more interesting coaches, better coaches. That's my hope. We'll see how the D coordinator stuff turns out, but better players. We got. I think we got better recruiters now on the team too, and yeah. You can argue about the future or whatnot, what you think of it, but looking at 2024, I just think that this is a better team, and I think that anybody that thinks that this team's going to backslide, I think they're just kind of talking out of their ass.
Yeah, can you help me understand what do they mean by? I'm an idiot, so you got to help me here. What do they mean by backslide? What do they mean by that? When they say they're going to backslide, what do they mean?
It's like this is a 1-win team, or again, we hear about this.
Okay.
They're going to lose to North Dakota State. They should not overlook North Dakota State. And I'm just going to say it right now, Rawhide. If there's one team to overlook this year, it is North Dakota State. I don't care about them coming in here, man. We're going to beat them just based on talent alone. Okay? And again, this isn't me like talking a big amount of shit, because we definitely should take care of business. But I'm going to be pissed if we're like legitimately like game planning, like bringing in some crazy wrinkles and what we're running. We should just be running standard stuff, running it through their throats, kicking their ass, and all those 5'8", Power 4 hopefuls. They can go back to North Dakota and cry about it. That's how I feel about it, man. We should not have an issue with that team, and any of our other opponents we should not overlook. But I'm just gonna say it. I'm not worried about North Dakota State at all. But some of these haters, man, I feel like they could see a world in which we lose to North Dakota State. Man, come on, man. We started out 3-0 last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. The North Dakota State take is this. Honestly, I tell people, it don't move me one way or the other. I'm thinking they should win the game. But
yeah,
I do worry about them coming together. Okay, you said running the ball. I agree with you.
Yeah.
If they do what you just described, they shouldn't have a problem.
Yes.
I'm worried. This is my worry. They're going to throw it, which that's in North Dakota State's advantage, and ensuring that offensive line holds up. Like if I was a North Dakota DC, and it ain't just me. I heard somebody else mention this. Bro, I'm throwing everything at the left tackle. I'm throwing everything at him. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep him in constant confusion, right? And if they throw it, which to me goes against their strength, then the game could look not like people want it to look. But I agree. They should win the game. I agree to that. I just hope they don't play with them. Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. I just don't want them to play.
I don't want them to treat this like it's the TCU game last year. We should go in there, handle business, and just run vanilla stuff, man. That's how I feel about it. Save all the fun stuff a week and a half later against Nebraska, because that's the game that
they're gonna need it. Yeah, they're gonna need it for that. But
yeah. Have you had a chance to watch this Arkansas transfer that we've had at all, Isaiah Gustive?
I've seen some highlights, but no, I hadn't dug deep into him, bro, and looked at him. I was on my, you know me, I was doing my hiatus, so I didn't look at it.
Man, I understand, but yeah, we got, I think, two guys that are sized well that I don't think is going to give a read on the defense based on who we have in the backfield on what's going to happen. You know, we got two guys that are around 6 feet, 200 plus pounds. I think they should do a fair job at pass protection, catching the ball out of the backfield and then running. So again, I feel like this is a better, more well-rounded team. We are a little inexperienced at the running back position just in terms of like overall reps. But again, the biggest difference I think that's going to make for these running backs is having good blockers to run behind. And I think that's what the biggest improvement I think that we've made on offense is the fact that we got guys that can run block. And I want to see us physically dominate some of these lines, man. You know, like that's what I really want to see.
But you know how you display that. You don't display that on 7-step drops, 3-step drops. You don't get to see that. So if you see what you want, then they're doing what I thought he's going to do. He's handing the ball off.
Yeah. Oh man, there are people just going crazy, man. They say, Rawhide, you're just switching up because you're on my show, man. No, man, guys, it's been forever since Rawhide and I have done a show, but we talk pretty much every week, man. We talk pretty much every week, and this is very similar to a lot of the conversations that I feel like we've had over the last 2 months.
Bro, I have repeated the same thing since the end of the season. Absolutely repeated the same thing, the same talking points since the end of the season. I don't know, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. Oh, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, and since we're like basically the only people I feel like on YouTube that talk about this, I don't know if you noticed, man, but we brought on 2 walk-on kickers that, I mean, they got big ass legs, man. They can kick it from 60 just fine. I think that we're going to be fine with the kickoff specialist. I think Mata's going to be our place kicker, of course, but this is another area where I think that we've improved on special teams. We got some guys, hopefully, again, we got to see them do it, but I think they can kick it through the end zone, not kick it out of bounds. And we're bringing back, what was he? Wasn't he like third all conference something last year, Mark Vassett? Yeah. So outside of getting that punt blocked against USC, I thought he had a pretty good year.
Yeah, he did get better. Remember, we was just insanely upset about that guy. Do you remember how many weeks we were mad at him?
We were so mad at him.
Hey, when people don't understand, when me and Jay talk, I don't tell it, it's bro. We was infuriated with that, bro. He just, oh my God, bro. But he did get better, bro. He got better.
Yeah.
He got better, bro.
And you know, I enjoy my little bits. You know, I love kind of bitching about special teams and whatnot. And I'm sure I'll find my little things to bitch about and have fun this year. But I think, you know, overall, we're just not going to see that mess, man. We're not going to see that mess. And I think we're going to see a more well-rounded, better looking physically and more mentally disciplined team. No dumbass penalties. The only thing that I'm okay with, though, is that if there's a cheap shot, we return that with a cheap shot of, you know, from ourselves, man. And, you know, we poke some eyes, and that's got to come from Khalil Benson, man. That's why we got to have him. I've changed my tune on Khalil Benson, man. Am I a little worried about him in pass protection? Sure, man. But this guy, again, I think he's going to go Psycho Benson. If something's wrong on the field, you know for a fact he's going to stand up for the rest of the team. And we need some of that nasty. We need a little bit of that borderline, what's about to happen feeling with a guy on the field that's Khalil Benson, man. He's going to be the protector. That's my hope.
I got to ask you a question, bro. I got to ask you this. Now they brought in here in this second portal cycle a few offensive linemen.
Yes.
Okay. Now, granted, they did need to add some depth. I understand that. Is there anybody that they brought in on that second go around that you think has an opportunity to break through and start?
Great question. Probably, I feel like the only guy that we've really brought in with a lot of experience has been Ethan Boyd from Michigan State. And again, they ran a rotation at right tackle. Nobody could fully take that job on to be the full-time starter at all last year. But he's kind of a similar player and might even be worse at pass protection than Khalil Benson. So based on his performance last year. So I think maybe it could be him. Outside of like these redshirt freshman guys that we've brought over, Zach Owens from Clemson and Peyton Kirkland, like I would like to, I would imagine that they have high ceilings, but since we haven't really seen them on the field, I can't say that I would expect them to push anybody for a starting spot this year.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
I got you. I was just wondering, did you see anything? I was speaking lightheartedly. I thought maybe they had. That's neither here nor there.
That's right. We did bring in that Villanova guy. Bogey time. Thank you. I'm forgetting his name right now. Wyatt Hummel, I think is his name. But he played offensive tackle, guard, and a little bit of center, I think, during his time at Villanova. Now, coming up from, I think Villanova plays FCS for football. They play at a higher level. I think they play Big East, for basketball and whatnot. But he's another guy, that could come in and maybe if they put him at center, maybe push Hank Zelinskis for that spot.
I got you.
He's like over 6 feet. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", like 315 pounds, so a little bit bigger than Hank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Hank, staples himself as the center. I'd love to see that, but that's the traditionalist in me. Yeah, I was just wondering, bro. Because I knew that they brought in a lot of offensive linemen. Well, I would consider a lot in that spring transfer portal, and I was just curious. Did you see anybody that make a step in and take Benson's spot?
Yeah, I would say probably Ethan Boyd would push him the most, but we'll have to see if any of these younger guys come in and really surprise. They very well could, but it's hard to without having any like if Jordan Seaton wasn't a 5-star guy, highly recruited guy or whatever, like if he was just, your average freshman tackle coming in here, I wouldn't be plugging him in at left tackle either, but I'm glad we at least have him. I don't really know if we got a left tackle to push him to be honest. Maybe Wyatt Hummel can be that guy, but I don't know. I haven't watched him.
Well, if they're not a lot better than Seaton, I think you should play him anyway. You don't go grab that guy and not put him on the field at a particular program like this. You know what I'm saying? At this particular stage, so he needs to play.
Yeah.
He needs to play.
Yeah, but I think JJ, I'll answer this and then I'll wrap this up. Rawhide, again, super appreciative of you.
Oh no, man! Hey, appreciate you having me.
But this is a great question from JJ. Said, Dave, didn't we bring in all new O-line in 2023 when Coach Prime took over? If so, what's the difference except better players and together players? Sort of. So we did have 2 holdovers start on the offensive line that were there starting in 2022. That was Jared Christian Lichtenhan at the left tackle position. And then we had, why the hell am I forgetting his name? Van Wells.
Van Wells, oh yeah.
Yeah, they're at center, who was started his true freshman year, true sophomore last year. It kind of similar to Hank Zelinskis in terms of that path. But anyways, we had those guys, but the biggest issue was that we did lose our guards. And that was really the biggest issue. I thought Savion Washington, again, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. I thought he was a serviceable right tackle for the line. But really, when you got a 280-pound guard out there, then you had another, Landon Beebe was a little bit bigger, but again, just came from a very low level of play. I think he might have been a JUCO guy or like a Division II player. I forget. But you had somebody like Kareem Harden who has the physical measurables to, I think, eventually be a starting guard on this team. But coming straight from JUCO, that can just be a very hard ask to have somebody hop in there. And he actually, I thought, in spurts played much better than the starting offensive lineman. But that was really just the issue. When you have two guards that are, one being severely undersized, being the size of like a larger tight end playing there in the interior, along with another guy that, while he might have the size, just clearly was not ready from a talent perspective, and the whole line could not communicate well. I think that was just a recipe for disaster. I think that we at least are bringing guys in now at the guard position that aren't 280, that aren't just barely breaking 300. These guys are 325 pounds. So I think we have an adequate size center right now. If Hank Zielinskis is playing there at like 305 or whatever he's at now, 300 pounds. Anything more to add to that, Rawhide, like on this? I just see it as a better unit from coaching to talent guys we got.
Right. I mean, Phil Logan is going to be really the difference maker. So we got to see how he looks and how he stacks up. How do you feel about Phil so far? I know you there in town, so I'm sure that you probably get more information.
Yeah, man, I don't feel like it could have been any worse. Like, man, I'll be able to live with guys getting beat sometimes. Sometimes that just happens, like where your offensive line get beat, man. Yeah. But what I will not tolerate this year is guys not knowing their assignments and guys not knowing the snap count, jumping false starts, all that sorts of stuff. Like, again, I like to blame our loss against Arizona on the freaking dirt patch Mata was kicking out of, but what led us to that position was either a false start or delay of game. Just ridiculous stuff. Like, we need the offensive line first and foremost to play with some brains, and that, I think, Phil Oldholt's going to instill that type of mental discipline on the team.
You hadn't heard anything about him, though, have you? Being around town or talking maybe to Adam or anything? Okay.
No, but I haven't heard anything negative. So,
okay. Which is good. That's good. Right. That's good.
You should be able to take that as a positive. So, and again, we got so many NFL coaches on the staff now. Some of them might be new at coaching, such as Warren Sapp or Adalius Thomas, to some respect, but they at least know what it takes to be good at your job in the professional ranks, and hopefully that translates over to coaching pretty quickly. That's my hope. They at least know what this stuff should look like at the highest level, and while they might have to grow a little bit, maybe in certain things, I think that they carry the vision. They understand what it should look like.
Yeah.
Unlike the new Northwestern offensive line coach. But that is another topic for another video. But Rawhide, thanks for staying on with me. I'm going to get to making some dinner and let people know, like, what do you got going on? Are there any videos coming up that people should expect to see from Rawhide?
I got to come back and do I got to do a video talking about. I made people mad, you know what I'm saying? I guess not necessarily mad. I told them that, knowing football related, I told them that Karl Anthony Towns and Jason Tatum is the same thing. So I got, bro, I got to do a video of that, kind of reiterating that point. But Denver, what you got? Come on.
Oh, dude, I'm never gonna get over that loss. And if this playoffs proved anything, it's just that Jokic won with a bunch of non-all-stars, man. Just Jokic is one of the greatest, man. When you can't be Jamal Murray and be blowing off press conferences, watching UFC fights and all this stuff. He's the most, cocky, non-all-star. I love the guy, but damn, dude, you're about to be 27 and the GM and the coach is coming out and just saying that you're not conditioned. Like, what the hell is up with that, man?
I thought he had an injury, though. He was playing with an injury, though.
Yeah, because he's not conditioned. Like that. it was just so disappointing to see this team fail the way that they did, because I already had dreams of three-peats, Rawhide. I was already dreaming we're the next dynasty and all that, and we got beat by guys, we made them look hard. Karl Anthony Towns, freaking Jaden McDaniels, man, Mike Conley. We made these guys look badass, and you saw Anthony Edwards about throw a parade for himself yesterday. I just didn't want to get sweet. They're already mentally beat, man, and we let those guys walk all over us mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was going to touch on that point you just made. I think Minnesota's Denver series was their championship. After they beat Denver, they like, you know what I'm saying? There you go. Hey, and your guy, I didn't know when to say this, but that's why I feel the way I feel about Porter.
Oh, man, I know, man. And KCP's got a player option. If he opts out and we don't re-sign him, we got some serious offensive issues, man, because right now, you see what happens with Dallas when they got two guys that can still bring it, even if their shot's not totally falling sometimes, like Kyrie, man, still impacts the game in a positive way. Right now, we got guys, if they're not bringing it, like Jamal or MPJ, they're not impacting the game in another way that helps them win, man. It's sad.
I got you. But we'll have to finish it. We'll have to finish it. I don't want to turn it into the basketball channel.
Man. Well, it about turned me into a hockey fan, man. That's all I've been doing is just watching hockey. I can barely watch these games going on right now. My heart hurts so much about that loss.
I feel you. It was a tough one. It was a tough one, man. Yeah, it was a tough one. But other than that, Dave, that's all I got, bro. I may throw something out today, talking about what we just got through mentioning, and I'll probably be going live. I don't know.
When he does, he'll be apologizing, man. He'll be apologizing. So, man.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, they'll turn you into it, bro. They'll turn you into it.
I understand, man. And I guess to bring it all circle, man, I think everybody is more well off, pun intended, staying the hell off Twitter just a little bit more.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Hey, Lawrence, come see me, man. Come see me when I go. We're gonna talk about Lawrence, Mr. Highly Intelligent. Me and him do not view basketball the same. We do not view it the same.
Oh, funny, man. Too funny. All right, I'm shutting this thing down. Y'all smash that like on the way out. Go subscribe to Rawhide. Links in the description. I will see y'all later. And Sco Buffs.